Have you heard different things about your energy and energy levels as a projector? Like maybe even different versions of projectors that have more or less energy? Maybe you found it a bit confusing or even disempowering. Over the last few years, I've noticed there have been an increasing number of human design teachers and coaches using terms like energy projector or energized projector, or even the very rare motorized projector. And of course, it's opposite. So I've heard non-energy projector, non-energized projector, or non-motorized projector. If you've been consuming content that have used any of these terms, then please know in this video, what I'm going to do is pull that whole mess apart, give you an understanding of what these terms are actually pointing to, so then you can have something more helpful and empowering to use in your own life. To do this, I'm going to draw on more than 10 years of experience in the human design field, learning, teaching, and serving my fellow projectors. It will be most helpful if you yourself are a projector, but it will also be helpful if you're another human design type and you have a projector loved one or a projector client that you're serving, so then you can use language that is more helpful and empowering and on point. If you're super new to human design, I'm going to explain all of this very simply. Just make sure you have your chart handy so that you can refer to anything that I'm referencing visually. And if you've been playing with a human design for a long time and you know your chart really, really well, but you're still confused or even just interested in what these terms mean, then let's do it. If we haven't met before, hi, I'm Carolyn Southwell. I found out I was a projector in early 2014, and most of the time when people refer to my particular configuration, they call me an emotional projector. But as you'll discover in this video, that means I'm also an energy projector. And since I had so many people over time ask me to better explain this whole energy versus non-energy, all of the different terms that can be related to projector, I thought it was high time I did a video. So the first thing that you need to know is that the term energy projector, energized projector, and motorized projector all refer to the same thing. So what I'm going to do in this video is just refer to this subgroup of projectors as energy projectors. The same goes for non-energy, non-energized, and non-motorized projector. So since they're all pointing to the same thing, in this video, just to make it really simple, I'm going to refer to that whole subgroup as non-energy projectors, until we get towards the end of this video, of course, and then I'll give you something more nuanced, useful, and empowering. Because since this mess of terms is all over the internet, sometimes to clean up the mess, we have to get in the mess first, right? So there are 4 motor centers in the chart, and that's where we need to start. If you are a total newbie to human design, just know that centers are those geometric shapes. There's 9 of them in your human design chart. So those shapes are called centers. And the 4 in the bottom right-hand corner, so if you look at the chart and look for the 4 that are closest to the bottom right-hand corner of your chart, all 4 of those are the motor centers. And like a motor in real life, they have some juice, they have some power, right? The square that is second from the bottom, in the middle, second from the bottom, is called the sacral center. And you won't have that one defined or colored in as a projector, because otherwise you wouldn't be a projector. You would be a generator or a manifesting generator. So we can scratch that one motor off our list that we're going to look at for you as a projector today. And many projectors will have 1, 2, or even 3 of those other motors defined. If you're still really new to human design, that's totally okay. So I'm using this word defined. Defined means colored in on your chart. And if you do have it colored in or defined, it means it is a more fixed and reliable energy for you. It means it's there for you day in and day out, and it creates this more fixed part of your personality. So if the square at the very bottom, that in human design we call the root center, is defined, then that makes you an energy projector. If the big triangle in the bottom right of the chart that we call the solar plexus, or sometimes it's called the emotional center, if that is defined, then you too are in that group that we call the energy projectors. And if that smallest triangle that is just up from the solar plexus, very tiny triangle, if that is defined, colored in, then it means that you are also an energy projector. Now that tiny triangle goes by 3 different names, just to be confusing. Some people call it the heart, some call it the will, and others call it the ego center. And it is its own motor. It has its own inherent power. So as a projector, if you have any 1, 2, or 3 of those centers defined, then you, my dear, are an energy projector. Hey, if you're finding this video helpful so far, can you give it a quick thumbs up? That will help more people to find and benefit from this video and just clean up this whole mess around energy, non-energy, etc. Now, there's more about the so-called energy projector in the video, so let's get back to it. Now, some so-called energy projectors will have as few as 2 centers defined, and others will have as many as 8. Yes, 8, as many as 8 centers defined. So there can be a huge, wild difference between the various configurations of energy projector. So just to be really clear, if your chart says emotional projector or ego projector, or you are a splenic projector and you have the root, the square at the bottom, and or the will center, that tiny triangle defined, then you are an energy projector. And regardless of which name you've been given and what jargon has been assigned to your energetic configuration, what you need to know is that as a so-called energy projector, as long as you are fairly healthy, that is, you're not experiencing a chronic health condition, you're not having some form of chronic fatigue, chronic burnout, you're not recovering from something like that, but you're fairly healthy, then as a group of people, you, me, all of us who are energy projectors, we need a bit more regular, vigorous exercise than our friends, the non-energy projectors. Okay, so it's really, really important to recognize that not all projectors are just supposed to rest and rest and rest and rest. In fact, we all need some exercise to some degree. So if you've been consuming content about projectors and it has said rest, 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 the projector has to rest, and you've been feeling worse as a result, then just know that if there is a continuum of like exercise through to rest, you might have moved a little bit too far along this continuum, and your sense of well-being will probably improve by you deliberately adding in a little bit more exercise. Every so-called energy projector is going to need a different amount of exercise. It's going to depend on how much energy you have to use at work, whether you're a parent of young children, what other pressures you might have in your life that require you to move and do things. So you're going to have to play in your own life and find the right amount of exercise for you. Are you an energy projector? If so, tell us in the comments, and maybe tell us which motor centers you have defined. Now let's talk about that group of people who have been given the very unhelpful label of non-energy projector. Now, maybe this is you, or if it's not, then you are bound to know one of these people. So you'll be a non-energy projector. We'll clean up that language in a minute. But let's just talk about this subgroup. A non-energy projector, if you have none of the motor centers defined that I just walked you through, and you're going to have some, 2, 3, 4, or 5 of these other centers defined. So you might have the spleen or the splenic center. So that's the triangle to the bottom left of the chart. You might have that defined, and or the diamond in the middle of the chart. It also goes by 3 names. So you might have it listed as the G center, the self center, or the identity center. You may have that one defined. You may have the throat center defined, which is just above the diamond, up at throat height, conveniently named that one, and or the ajna center, A-J-N-A, ajna center, which is a diamond at face height, and or the head center, which is a triangle right at the very top of the chart. So you might have any or all of those defined, but you will have none of the motor centers, those 4 in the bottom right corner of the chart. You'll have none of them defined. So hopefully you can see at this point that this label, this split between energy projector and non-energy projector, is literally just designed to split the projectors between who has a motor defined and who doesn't. That's all that piece of jargon does. And this is perhaps the most important thing I'm going to say in this whole video. If you're in this latter group of so-called non-energy projectors, it does not mean that you don't have energy. And that, of course, is the problem with this particular chunk of jargon. It can be misleading and have projectors around the world thinking that they have no energy. And that, of course, is rubbish. In a moment, I want to give you a gorgeous example of how silly this concept of no energy is by sharing an example of a public figure that you probably will know, who is a so-called non-energy projector. But first, if you are in this group of people, do you want to tell us in the comments which centers do you have defined as a so-called non-energy projector? And while you're there, do you want to tell us what was most helpful about this video for you so far? Now, let's go and have a look at that example. Maybe you've heard of Serena Williams. Now, if you haven't, then just know that she is one of the most celebrated, recognized, and accomplished tennis players of our time, perhaps of all time. And what you need to know is that she has been paid as a professional athlete for decades. And because Serena only has her throat and her ajna defined, she too is classified as a non-energy projector. Can you see how silly this is? So whether you're a mental projector like Serena Williams, or you're like one of my clients, these self-projected projectors who do regular exercise every day and feel good, or you're a splenic projector with no motors defined, please know you are not doomed to a life with no energy. As long as you are reasonably healthy, you will have energy. In fact, it's worth remembering you are energy. That's what you're made up of. That's what all of this stuff is all made up of. It's all energy. When we drill down small enough, all we find is a truckload of energy in all of us. And that's what human design shows us. It is your chart to show you your energetic configuration. And if you are finding that you tire out more easily than other people, even other projectors, even projectors with a very similar energetic configuration to you, then maybe instead of doing exercise every single day, maybe you just go to the gym or go running or cycling or swimming or dancing or rollerblading, whatever is your thing. Maybe you only go 2 or 3 or 4 times a week instead of every single day. You have to find what's right for you, because every single projector, every energy projector and non-energy projector will have different pressures from work, from life, from family, from their community, and you have to work out what works for you. So from now on, when you hear the terms energy or non-energy, motorized or non-motorized, energized or non-energized related to projectors, you now have a more nuanced and empowering understanding of how to view yourself in a way that is genuinely more useful for you to find the right spot on that continuum between rest and play. And what you're looking for is what helps you feel really good in your body. That's your measure of the right amount and the right type of exercise for you. Please remember that you are energy in human form. You are energy in human form. You are energy in human form. From here, you can drill down into learning more about each of those 9 centers in the self-paced on-demand course I have. I'll link it in the description. And if you found this video helpful, is there another projector you know who would really benefit from watching this video? I'd love it if you could share it with them now. It would help this channel, but it would also potentially change their life.